Welcome to the Collide Kids Podcast, hosted by Christen Clark. This is a show for kids and families. You are going to meet new people and have fun while you listen. Let's do it!
Hey, y'all, welcome to the Collide Kids Podcast. I'm your host, Christen Clark. The Collide Kids Podcast is a show for kids and families where we learn together how life and faith collide. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you all had a wonderful Mother's Day weekend, celebrating all the amazing moms and mother figures in your life. Now, here we are heading into the final stretch of the school year. And whew, if your family's calendar looks anything like mine, it is full. Concerts, awards, dances, practices, graduations, parties, field trips, sporting stuff. It just feels like everything happens in the month of May. And then they give us Mother's Day on top of all of it. Like, we don't have time for this. And honestly, that just makes a great reminder that if you are a busy parent trying to stay encouraged and grounded in your faith during the chaos, I'd love for you to check out my other show called 7-Minute Devotions for Busy Parents. They're just short, practical devotionals made specifically for seasons just like this one, because I don't know a single parent who isn't busy this month. Well, today, my special guest is someone who is not only incredibly gifted, but also a really good friend of mine. His name is Brandon Rushin, and I'm so excited to talk with him today. Brandon is a Christian speaker and entertainer who has been engaging audiences all over the United States for more than 30 years. He lives here in Georgia with his wife, Cindy, and they've been married for 26 years, and they have 2 kids. And as you'll hear in this conversation, Brandon loves people, he loves to laugh, and he loves encouraging families. At one point in the episode today, Brandon says that he's basically my twin. And honestly, after this conversation, you may understand why. We have so much fun talking today about faith, family, encouragement, and connecting with people, all the things that we love. So whether you're driving to another end-of-year event, folding laundry, or just trying to get ahead on your to-do list, I'm so glad you're here today, and I hope that you feel encouraged after this conversation with my friend, Brandon Rushin. Well, Brandon Rushin, I am so excited to finally have you on the Collide Kids Podcast.
Yes, it's been, you know what? I truly believe this, Kristen. I know you do too, that God works and he's got perfect timing and it's different than ours. But today's the day. Who would have known?
That's right.
He knew, but now we know.
We have been, so when I first started this show in 2020, I made a list. I'm like, okay, God, if you want me to do this show, who could I get on the show? And I made a list of all these people and your name was on there and you said yes, but we could never get it scheduled.
I know. And isn't that crazy? Now we're talking six years later.
Yeah.
So,
listen.
But and look, you just like I tell people a lot of times, I'm like, don't make a black man blush, but you just made me blush because that was so kind. You know, I really believe I love people, and you know, you're a people, and I love others, and that's the way God came. And for you to say that touches my heart. So thank you already. Look, you're gonna make me cry. Where's my Kleenex?
Don't cry yet. Don't cry yet.
Not yet.
Well, and I'm a huge Incredibles fan, so that might have been where it came from. I wanted to have Frozone on my show.
That's right.
It's completely selfish.
But you know what? What we'll have to do maybe the next time that this works out, I'll come dressed in character and we'll have a real good time.
I'll have Frozone on my show. That'd be amazing.
Let's go. Hey, there's another episode.
I love it. Would you just introduce yourself? I know people are so confused right now. Like, what is going on? Would you introduce yourself to our listeners? Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I'm Brandon Rushin. I live in the state of Georgia. I've been in Georgia all my life. Tomorrow, May 1st, although you may hear this at a different time, but May 1st, I will celebrate my birthday because tomorrow it's gonna be May. All right. So I'll be 55 years old tomorrow. I'm married to my lovely wife, Cindy, and we've been married for 26 years. We have 2 lovely children who are in college, Mackenzie and then Maverick. And we love life. We have a little dog, Mistletoe. And Mistletoe, if you can guess when she was born, yes, she's a Christmas dog.
Christmas.
And our family, we love life. I'm an entertainer, MC, speaker, and I just really believe that and people have told me this, and so I really believe it's God saying it. I'm an encourager. I love people, and I want people to know that they matter, that they count to Jesus, and that they can make a difference in somebody's life. So that's what I love doing. And I love sports, and I love to travel, especially Disney and cruises. That's what our family
Oh,
does a lot. And I'm the size that I'm not allowed to say a lot anymore because I'm 6'7". That's how tall I
oh,
am.
you are
Yes, I
6'7"?
am 6'7". So
Wow.
a lot of times when people see me, they're like, "Wow, you sure are a tall drink of water." The Southerners say that. Others are
Yes.
just like, "Man, you're tall." But I love that because it's a quick icebreaker and opening that I get to engage and interact with people.
Yeah, I love that. And you are definitely an encourager. Every time I've
Oh,
seen you
thanks.
in person or when I've seen you on stage, you're very encouraging and you bring people in. That's something that not everybody can do very well. Before we get into your story, I would love for you to tell us a joke because this is a show for kids. So I always make my guests tell me a joke. What do you have for us?
I've actually got two. The
Okay.
first, because I'm a big Disney fan. So, all
Okay.
right, why was Cinderella so bad at soccer?
Oh, I don't know.
Because she was afraid of the ball. Okay, she ran away from the ball,
She ran away.
and she had a pumpkin as a coach.
That's true.
Some will rewind it and they'll be like, "What? Why?" Because she always runs away from the ball, and she had a pumpkin for a coach. Boom. All
I
right, and
like that.
the other Disney joke, it's an easy one. Why do you not give Elsa a balloon?
Oh, because she will let it go, let it
Let it
go.
go. Come on. See, I knew you'd sing that one, so I was like, we'll end on that one. So perfect,
That's
Kristen.
right. So let's talk about your story because you shared earlier that you grew up in Georgia
Yes.
and you get to speak and you dress up in a lot of different characters. In fact, I just had Uncle Charlie on my show
Let's
a few weeks ago.
go.
And one of my favorite songs is If You're Happy and You Know It, which everybody's listening to that like, yeah, I know that song. You don't know the Brandon Rushin, Hey Ya, Uncle Charlie
Yes.
version. So that's the best
Yes.
one.
Thank you, Kristen.
Yeah, it's my favorite. So tell us a little bit about how you got started in speaking and dressing up and doing all those different things that you do.
So it started where I believe a lot of our listeners are. It started at a very young age. And my mom and dad still to this day say there was one day that we were at Disney. And my dad said, in front of the castle, I just threw up my hands and said, "Everybody, look here." And he said, I just entertained people right there. And he said, I could tell right from that moment that God had
Wow.
given you a gift that you were going to get to use. And it kind of continued because my mom, she used to work back in the day for Saks Fifth Avenue, which was it's a department store, kind of very
Mm-hmm.
trendy. So like if kids get to ever go to the mall, which I would say I recommend go to the mall. If you've never been to the mall, Google it. It's an amazing thing, because
Yes.
Amazon's taken
It's
over.
way
But
better than Amazon. Yeah.
right. So, but I had the opportunity one time because they were having a fashion show, and all I was doing, I was just going because just going to watch and see the fashions. And that morning, as my mom was in, they said, "Oh my goodness," they're like, "We do not have a 5 to 7 age range, and we need somebody." And they were like, "Well, who are we going to get?" And they turned to me, and they turned to my mom, and they said, "Hey, will Brandon go out and just walk?" And they said, "He'll only have to walk one time." And so my mom turned to me, she's like, "Brandon, will you just put these clothes on and walk out one time?" And I was like, "One time?" And she said, "One time." And so I said, "Okay." So I went and I walked, and the place went crazy. They said people were cheering and shouting. It could, because I went out and I guess I put on some stylings, but I went out and did it. And then I came back in ready after doing my one, and they
Uh-huh.
said, "Get him these, get him those, get him those." And I had to go out multiple times. And my mom said through that, she saw that I had a gift to entertain and bring people close. And so those are little things that kind of got me started. Along the way in school, I was involved in the chorus. I was involved with drama. I was involved with pretty much any club that had an activity. I wanted to be in it. A little another side of the story is every summer, my mom would start me out in vacation Bible school. And so, vacation Bible school would kind of
Mm-hmm.
go for the week. Well, it was amazing. At the end of that week and after the weekend and going to church, my mom would find another brand new vacation Bible school. And it seemed like
Yep.
that was the way my summers were, vacation Bible school. that when I come
Yeah.
back to see everybody at school, and they're telling me about all their trips and fun that they did, and they're like, "What did you do?" And I was like, "Vacation Bible School." Doesn't everybody just do Vacation Bible School?
All
But
summer long.
right, but I really believe that was God crafting
Mm,
and speaking and teaching me that, hey, what you're getting from me, you're gonna use for my
mm-hmm.
glory in the future. And it opened up some great doors that I was very fortunate to do. I was an actor with the People Store, which was a local agency here in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of great opportunities through that. Did a lot of voiceover work as well. And all through those steps, God was working on me to be ready to speak to people, to encourage people, and to show them that they matter. And so now that's what I do. That's my career. I get to go out, travel the United States, and speak and entertain. And the entertainment came through life. And I really believe that every day in life, He's giving you something that you can use so that eventually you're going to be able to bring people to Him and to glorify Him. And so I'm blessed to be able to do that.
That's amazing. I love that you started out as a model.
I know, right?
Walking the runway. That's so good.
Yeah, it's supposed to be one time, and then it ended up
One
being
time.
multiple, but that opened the door.
Was it because you did like a really cool like strut or a turn, or did you give him like a look? Like what was the sauce that you put on that?
Yes, I believe I have some flair, and I
Okay.
definitely know I get that from my mom and from the Lord. But my mom,
Okay.
she likes to always pose and this and that. And they said I went out and I struck a pose because they said walk the catwalk and then strike a pose at the end. And they said struck a pose and the place went crazy. And so then I walked back and they said I was looking at people and kind of pointing, and they were like, "We got to use him." So it just continued, and I went back out.
That's awesome. I love that. You also said something earlier too. You said that you are an encourager. Let's talk a little bit about encouragement because I'm an encourager too. And I think it's
Yes,
so
you are.
important that we are speaking life over people and that we are building people up. Tell us a little bit about encouragement and why that's so important for you to do that for other people.
Well, I learned it quickly because we grew up going to True Light Baptist Church, which was in downtown Atlanta. And my mom would come in an encouraging way every Sunday morning early, like before the sun was up, because we had to get ready and we had to drive over an hour to get to church and to be ready. And so she'd come in, and mom was, I tell people she's a sulker. She would sing and talk. So she'd come in and kind of be like, "Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory. Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory. Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory, children of
Yes.
the Lord." And so she'd come in singing that, and she'd be like, "Okay, Brandon, it's time to get up." And I'd be, like, "Okay, Mom, I'm up." And she'd leave, and I'd put my head back down. She'd come back in the second time. She'd be like, "It's time to rise and shine, Brandon. Are you awake?" And I'd be like, "Mom, I'm awake." She'd leave and I'd lay back down. Well, the third time, her encouragement would be knock, knock, knock. She'd say all three of my names: Brandon Rayborn Rushin. I'm about to come in and I've got a pitcher of water, so you better get up. So I was
Uh-oh.
like up and getting ready. And I really believe that she started by being an encourager and
Mm-hmm.
in creative ways. And I saw through her, and I learned in those vacation Bible schools that God loved us all so much that He sent His only Son. And
Mm-hmm.
His Son came to teach us, to love on us, to heal us, to help us, and to give us that salvation. And in that encouragement, I realized, hey, He did that for all of us. We need to do it for somebody else, because I feel like everybody needs to know that they're important, that they matter, and that they're cared for. And if they start learning that, man, then life is just forever going to change. So it started at a pretty young age. I remember some elementary teachers who always would say, "Brandon, you came in day after day with a smile on your face, regardless of what was going on, and you were just ready." And I was like, "Well, that's the way I think we're supposed to be." And I've tried to make that each and every day, regardless of what's going on in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It could be worse, and it's probably worse for somebody else.
That's right.
So let's lift people up and help them to be better, because I always believe you never know what you may change. You may change, as I say, the trajectory, the way somebody is thinking about going. They may be in a not happy place, and you could bring them to that happy place. So encouragement is what we all need to do.
Absolutely. I love to be an encourager even to strangers. And I feel like
Yes.
that's my secret sauce
Come
and
on.
to making friends. Because if you can walk up to someone you've never met before and compliment their shoes, or you have a great
Yes.
smile, or tell them just something that you see about them that you appreciate, that gives them so much. Like whenever if I'm going
Yes.
anywhere and they're like, "Oh, I like your shirt," or "Hey, you look really friendly," like anything that someone can say that's nice means
Yes.
so much in that moment, and it helps me to have a better day, like you said. So I think it's a great way to make friends. If you're not sure how to make a new friend, just give them a compliment, give them some encouragement, and see what God does in the middle of that.
And I love the fact that you wear your glasses that already are going to connect people and pull them in. And I
Hmm.
tell people that's a superpower because people are going to be engaged and be like, man, I love your glasses. Well, boom, the door is open for
Yeah.
you to be able to talk, for you to be able to converse, for you to be able to encourage them. And I feel like my superpower comes through my tallness because I am 6'7". And
Six,
a lot of times
seven.
people are like, how tall are you? Well, now I do the 6'7", but typically back in the day, I'd just be like, well, I'm kind of tall, but I'm just standing on a hill as a joke. And before you know it, people are pulled in and been like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, no, I'm 6'7". And it quickly brings us in and we're able to talk about things. And I, just like you, I like to seek out people who I don't know
Hmm.
because that's a great way to make friends. And I love people. And the only way to keep that going is, man, let's make friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so important too for people have special needs, or people that
Yes.
maybe are not good at making friends, that is such a great way to connect with those people too. It's just to encourage them and to share something nice about them that makes them smile. It makes you
Yes.
smile. And so
Come
I
on.
think it's important that we do that. I also love the root word for encouragement is courage. And so when we
Yes.
give that, we're giving someone else strength and courage. And that's definitely from God. Like we can't do that on our own. So we can pass that along to someone else and encourage them that way. It's maybe they're facing a big decision, or maybe they're about to
Yes.
walk into something that they need that strength and that courage. And so you being that for them is so important.
Yes, and I tell people that all the time as well, Kristen. That's why we're twins, separated at birth,
We are
different
twins.
mothers. Exactly. And people are going to get it, especially if they're not watching. They'll later go watch live, and you'll see. Go watch the video if you're just listening, and you'll see that
We
we are
look
twins. We're
exactly the same.
exactly. We're paternal. But
Paternal.
we're twins. Exactly. But what what I've always been about, because, and you, I know, get this as well because you're in front of people a lot. People always ask me, they're like, do you get nervous before you go to speak, before you go to entertain, before you do it? I'm like, every time I get so nervous. I got nervous before today. Also nervous because I wasn't quite sure if I was going to have the right link to connect with you. And boom, God took care of it. And I
Yeah.
tell people, every time we get nervous, it helps us to lean on Him more and to realize it's not us, it's Him who gives us the strength, who gives us the courage, who gives us the ability. And then we can go on and be able to encourage and help others by that. But I always give Him the glory, pray to Him first, and say,
Hmm.
hey, Lord, take those nerves and help me to fly with those nerves for your good. And He does.
Yeah. And that's what bravery is. It's doing the thing that you're afraid of, even though you're afraid. And so a lot of times we wait, like, no, I have to feel comfortable before I can do it. But if you wait for that, you're never going to feel completely comfortable. You got to do it scared.
Yeah, and you get the best out of it
That's
because
right.
I really believe, like, when we step into it, and it's really take a step,
Hmm.
because people are like, well, how do you go to do this? I was like, try something you haven't tried. Take a step. Like maybe you've never opened a door for somebody. Try it one time. And then here's your challenge. Try it a second time. And then before you know it, it becomes a habit. Like I do this in my neighborhood. We moved into our neighborhood. We're now in Beaufort, Georgia, and we moved from a different part of Gwinnett County. And when we moved into the neighborhood, people driving, because we live right off the main street, and people driving in our neighborhood, I always wave. And for the longest time, people, they might not wave. They might just kind of look at me and kind of go like, whatever, whatever. Now, Kristen, every car that comes by, they wave. And sometimes beating me to the wave because they're like, oh, there's
You're
Brandon,
like, no.
and they wave. Exactly. But it's that thing of, because I tried it, and it's stepping out, because
Hmm.
waving and acknowledging people, that takes courage. That takes bravery.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about all your characters because I love this so much. Okay, we already talked about how you look just like Frozone. You really do. So like whenever I watch Incredibles, like there's Brandon. Tell us about all the characters that you do and why do you like to dress up so much?
Yes, I believe that if you get people laughing, it'll break down their walls. And then
Mm,
they're ready to receive good news. And how I go out a lot is if I come, I'm going to come first in character, and that's going to be the first engagement. And the characters are going to get you up and moving, going to probably do a game with you, and maybe have something that you're going to say and repeat back to them. But they're going to get you smiling, laughing, engaged, so that then later, after I go change back out of the character, out of Hey Ya, out of Coach Bobcat, out of Camp Sergeant Master B, but after I go
yes.
change out of those different characters and come back as Brandon to speak, people a lot of times are like, "Hey, that guy looks a lot like Frozone, or he looks a lot like Disco Pete."
Yep.
But you know what? I had fun with them. Let me listen to what he has to say.
Yeah.
And it has truly been all God, because God was the one who said, "Hey, Brandon, I want you to create characters, and I'm going to give you characters." And here's how the characters kind of started. Was driving down the road one day, and I did characters for a long time, but I'm driving down the road, and the song "Hey Ya" comes on the radio, and this is way back in the day when it first came out.
Yeah.
And I hear it and I'm like, "Oh man, that's a cool, catchy song." And I heard audibly the voice of God say, "Brandon, that's your next character." And I, like we sometimes
Wow.
do, challenged God. And I said, "Okay, God, how's that going to be my next character?" And God said, "Turn left." And so I got to a stop sign, turn left. He said, "Turn right." And I turned right. And then I got to a traffic light and he said, "Turn left." And I turned left. And then a little bit up the road, he said, "Turn right." And I turned right, and I was in a Goodwill parking lot. I went in, I found a red blazer, I found a shirt that looked like the character from the group that
Uh-huh.
created Hey Ya, found these plaid pants, found these penny loafer shoes, and Hey Ya was created. And
That's
here's
awesome.
the craziness. My mom had wigs that she just had back in the day. I come home and she's like, "Brandon, I don't know why I'm supposed to show you this." She showed me the first ever Hey Ya wig. Now, Hey Ya wigs and blazers have come and gone and been passed on, but the first, and so a few months later, I was in front of 500 high schoolers doing Hey Ya, and the place went crazy. And people even asked after it went, they were like, "Wow, man, that was really so awesome. How long you been doing Hey Ya?" And I was like, well, just a little while now, because it
About
was the first time.
15
But
minutes.
God was in it. God gave me the
Yeah.
words, and He did it so
Wow.
well. And boom.
That's
So it was really,
amazing.
really cool.
That is cool. I love that. Now, you talked about you had a coach and a sergeant. Do you have experience from those things or were you ever coached in that way and that's why you're
Yes.
the way?
So the characters basically come from life,
Okay.
and they come from opportunities that I've been engaged with. Like my coach Bobcat, I didn't ever have a coach Bob, but Coach Bobcat goes, "I'm Coach Bobcat. Whew, the new strength and conditioning coach. It's good." But Coach the Bobcat, I didn't ever have a coach by the name of Bobcat. The Bobcat came in on the way of, "Hey, how do you make it engaging?" And people go, "Whew," like, kind of like a Bobcat.
Yes.
But the coach definitely came from a former coach that I had in high school, Coach Bigger, who is still good friends of mine to this day. And his coaching style, because he grew up with a very authoritative family
Mhm.
and that coaching style, and he gave it to us, and he's a little bit like Gritty, but that's how Coach Bobcat came. And pretty much each of the characters, they came and
Yeah.
they come from life. And that's the other good side is I'll go into some situations like speaking or camps or just different engagements, and they're like, "Hey, here's the theme. Do you have a character for this, or could you create a character for this?" And the first thing I do is go to prayer, and I pray to God and say, "Hey, God, either let a character that you've already helped me create be that character to fit this theme, or give me the words and the thoughts to create a new character." And tried and true, he always comes through. Either a character that he's already helped me goes to fit it perfectly, or he comes up with a new character. And so it's so much fun because it keeps me thinking and it keeps me leaning on him, because one of my favorite verses in the Bible is Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 6. And it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, and in all your ways submit. And I also believe acknowledge him and he will make your path straight. Well, that's what I do. Man, I lean on him and he makes those characters in the past straight. And he creates characters that people typically are like, wow, that was really good. Man, I can't wait to bring you back and see somebody else. So
Yeah.
it's really cool.
That is amazing. I love that you do that with the Lord, that it's your creativity, but it's also you submitting to God and asking God to show you. And like you said, he comes through every time. If we ask
Every
God,
time.
James 1 says, if we ask God for wisdom, he gives it to us generously. So he
Yes.
doesn't just give us a little bit, he gives us a lot. So I love that we can go to the Lord at any time for anything and he'll help us. So
Yes.
that's cool that that's part of your story. Well, Brandon, this has been so fun. I'm so glad that we had you on the show finally and that we got this opportunity to talk. Tell our listeners a little bit about where they can find you, where they can learn more about all your characters and things that you're doing right now.
Awesome. It's pretty easy. It's my first name and last name. So Brandon is Brandon, and Rushin is like you rush into a room, not like the country and things like that. It's like Rushin. And so Brandon Rushin, you can go to brandonrushin.com. You'll see our website and all the characters. If you like, I'm out there everywhere, but it's Brandon Rushin, Rushin. And that's the easiest way.
I love it. Thanks so much for sharing that. All right. Well, before I let you go, I always ask my guests to tell me a memory from when they were a kid. So what memory do you want to share with us today?
Well, I love sports, and I love the way sports help us to bring out our inner athlete and help us to compete, because I'm a little bit competitive. Okay. Like I love to competing, whether it be checkers, whether it be a basketball or soccer, whether it be who's going to race down the hallway quickest. I love to compete and in a fun way. But as I was growing up, and I was very blessed in skills of soccer, and I got a soccer jersey on today, but I was really good and was climbing the ranks, so much so that the United States has a development program where they're trying to get you better. And I was climbing those ranks and competing. But one of the things throughout all the levels of soccer that I love is my dad, my father. When he would come to watch me, he always would sit the farthest away from anybody. If it was a big hill, he'd be farthest way up on the hill. If it was a sideline, he'd be the farthest away from everybody else. But while I was playing, I could always hear him, go, Brandon. Good job, Brandon. You're doing great. I could always hear his voice above anybody else's. And I really feel like that's what our Heavenly Father is. He wants to be that voice that we hear above anybody else. And so I always remember those soccer memories of being out on the field, giving my all, and my dad saying, great job, Brandon. I'm proud of you. And I believe that that's what our Heavenly Father does for us. So I hope all of our friends who are listening today, I hope you can hear your Heavenly Father saying, well done. You're doing great. I love you.
And I love that your dad stood far away. Is that because he had a loud voice? Was he trying to he wanted to be able to yell as loud as he wanted to?
No, that's always the way. Like he would do that when we go to go somewhere. We'd always park the farthest away. I tell people he had an exit strategy, but he just wanted to be in the easiest spot.
Okay.
And out of the
the crowd. Okay.
Yeah, out of
okay.
the crowd.
But you could still hear him no matter how far out
Yes.
he was. That's so good.
Exactly.
I love that. And thank you for sharing that with us today. Brandon, this has been so fun. I'm so glad you were on the show today. How do you think Frozone would close out the show?
Frozone would say, where's my super suit? Where is my super suit? Oh, I have it on? Oh, okay. All right. And he'd say, look, you guys are doing great. Don't sweat the small things. Stay cool and just enjoy life, because life was meant to be enjoyed. And if we're focusing on our Heavenly Father, it's going to be really ice cold. So we'll see you a little later. And I guess that'd be a little bit of hey ya too. Hey ya.
I love it. Brandon, he he is my twin. Because we love to encourage. Brandon is a professional encourager, and he said he learned to be an encourager from the influence of his mom and from what he learned about Jesus. Brandon believes that everyone needs to know that they are important, they matter, and they are cared for. I also love when Brandon said, regardless of what is going on in your life, it could be worse, and it might be worse in someone else's life. So let's make it our point in life to lift people up and help them to be better, because you never know how you can change someone's life just by giving them some encouragement. And Brandon gave us some great encouragement and advice. He said, every time you get nervous, just remember it's okay, because that's what helps us lean on God more. Just take that step, trust in God that He's going to be with you, and we can go to the Lord anytime for anything, and He will always help us. If you'd like to learn more about Brandon and his ministry and all the fun characters that he portrays, you can see all that on his website, brandonrushin.com. You'll find the link for that in our show notes. I hope that today's conversation was an encouragement for you today, and I hope it encourages you to be that person that speaks life and says kind things to others. Maybe that's something that you and your family can start working on together. Remind people in your family to share some encouragement, to say something kind, not just to each other, but even to a stranger. Lift other people up. That's what God has called us to do. Thanks so much for listening today, and we'll see you back next time. If you love today's episode, share it with a friend and follow us on social media at Collide Kids Pod so you don't miss what's next. You can find more episodes and resources at collidekidspodcast.com, and leave a quick rating and review that really helps other families find out about the show. Thanks so much for being a part of the Collide Kids podcast. And in case no one has told you today, God loves you so much. See you next time. You know, raising kids in the digital age isn't easy, but Bark Technology makes products that help parents keep their kids safe online and in real life. They have an app, a phone, and a home device that lets families set parental controls on their internet-connected devices. I love the app because it helps us manage screen time and blocks websites and apps we want our kids to avoid. It also sends alerts and gives us the ability to monitor texts and social media and even track your child's location. Visit bark.us to learn more about how you can keep your kids safe online. Use the code CollideKids to get 15% off your subscription of the Bark app.